The night roared with a violent wind as the ancient castle groaned under its weight. Princess Elara walked through the dim corridor, her lantern flickering. She whispered, "Something stirs tonight, something not meant to be seen." The heavy doors creaked, slamming open with unnatural force, and the echoes rattled her heart. Shadows stretched long across the stone, crawling toward her like hungry serpents. The voice of Lord Malrik rang in her memory. "Do not wander these halls alone, the walls remember." Elara's breath grew shallow, the cold air wrapping her like icy fingers. Her lantern sputtered and went out, leaving her in choking darkness. A whisper slid across her ear. "The bond begins." Elara turned, yet the corridor was empty, save for the faint toll of a bell far away. The sound rolled heavy, striking her chest like thunder. She clutched the pendant given by Elder Kaelen, muttering, "Guide me." The floor trembled, and from the shadows, the shape of a wolf's silhouette emerged, eyes burning with spectral light. Her pulse quickened, fear and awe mixing. She whispered again, "Why do you follow me?" The wolf's gaze pierced her, as if speaking without words, and the air filled with a heavy stillness. Elder Kaelen sat in the candlelit library, his fingers tracing faded runes on ancient parchment. He muttered, "The bond awakens as foretold." The storm outside howled against the windows, shadows bending unnaturally. Elara's image filled his mind, her fate now tied to the spectral wolf. He whispered, "She cannot yet know the truth, for it will break her before it saves her." He closed his eyes, listening to the whispers of the old spirits that haunted the chamber. Their voices echoed, "The cursed line must endure." He gripped his staff, a relic of battles long forgotten, and prayed for strength. In the great hall, Lord Malrik paced before the fire, his jaw set. He murmured, "The girl strays where she should not." His advisors watched in silence, their fear evident. Malrik clenched his fist, sparks flickering in the hearth behind him. He turned sharply and declared, "If she seeks the wolf, she seeks doom." His words carried the venom of memory, for he once too had sought forbidden power. A servant lowered her eyes, whispering, "Perhaps fate chooses her, my lord." His glare silenced her instantly, shadows dancing across his scarred face. Beneath the castle in damp tunnels, a cloaked figure moved silently. It was Seraphine, sworn companion to Elara. She whispered, "If she wanders into darkness, I must follow." Her eyes glowed faintly in the torchlight, betraying secrets untold. She traced the walls with her fingers, sensing the old words etched into stone. The air was heavy with mold and whispers, as if the earth itself murmured warnings. She drew her dagger, muttering, "No force will harm her, not while I draw breath." High above, the bell tower swayed with the storm. A cloaked guardian stood watch, his gaze fixed on the corridors below. It was Fenris, bound by ancient law to guard the wolf. He muttered, "The threads tighten." His cloak whipped in the wind as lightning cracked the sky. He raised his staff, runes glowing, and whispered, "If she falters, the kingdom falls." His voice was swallowed by the storm, but his resolve shone like iron. Princess Elara awoke in her chamber as the storm eased, leaving an eerie calm. She pressed her hand to the cold window, gazing at the courtyard below where rain glistened like spilled glass. "The wolf is bound to me," she whispered. Her reflection trembled in the pain, eyes shadowed with fear and wonder. The whisper still echoed from the corridor, haunting her. She turned, clutching the pendant, and gasped as Seraphine slipped through the door, cloak dripping rain. Seraphine said, "You should not be alone, Elara." I felt the words stir. Elara stepped forward, voice trembling. There was a wolf in the shadows. Seraphine's eyes narrowed, then softened, and she replied, "If the wolf has come, the legends awaken. You are not safe." The chamber air grew heavy, the candles flickering wildly. Elara whispered, "I must know why it follows me." Seraphine sheathed her dagger, vowing, "Then I follow you." In the library, Elder Kaelen read aloud from a brittle scroll, his voice trembling. "The bond of blood and shadow awakens with the marked air." His eyes glistened as if the words cut deep. He leaned closer to the parchment, whispering, "Elara carries the mark unseen." The chamber darkened, though the candles burned strong. Elder Kaelen lifted his staff, its crystal faintly glowing, as if resonating with the text. "The wolf is no enemy," he murmured, "but a guardian cursed by grief." His words trembled, heavy with sorrow. He closed the scroll with shaking hands and whispered to the empty air, "May she find strength where I once faltered." The room groaned, a chilling draft blowing across the parchment. Elder Kaelen bowed his head, knowing the truth must be revealed soon, though it would shatter her heart. Lord Malrik stood at the battlements, storm clouds breaking into pale morning light. His armor gleamed with dew, but his eyes were darker than night. He muttered, "The cursed wolf returns, bound to her." His general, Dorian, stepped forward, bowing. Dorian asked, "Shall we act, my lord?" Malrik's lips curled into a bitter smile. "Not yet. Fear is a weapon stronger than steel." He turned sharply, gazing at the kingdom stretching far below. His voice was sharp. "Let her bond grow, let her taste power. Then I will break her." Dorian's jaw tightened, unease stirring. Malrik added, "The kingdom must not see mercy, only strength." His hand clenched on the battlement stone until his knuckles whitened. The morning light failed to soften his scarred face, which twisted with hatred and grief. Seraphine walked beside Princess Elara through the garden, where rain-drenched roses dripped silver tears. Elara whispered, "Every step I take feels watched." Seraphine replied firmly, "Because every step you take is watched." Elara brushed her fingers along a broken statue, vines twisting across its face. She muttered. The wolf's eyes burned with sorrow. Seraphine's dagger glinted faintly at her side as she said, "Legends say the wolf once served a queen who betrayed him. Perhaps he sees her in you." Elara froze, heart racing. She whispered, "Then I must know his truth." The garden wind sighed through the hedges, and the statues seemed to lean closer, listening. Seraphine placed a hand on her shoulder, steadying her. Her voice was low, protective. "Then I walk with you into his shadow." At the edge of the forest, Fenris stood with his staff planted in the earth, eyes fixed on the tree line. He whispered, "The bond pulls her closer." The wolf appeared at the forest's edge, its silver eyes reflecting the morning sun. Fenris lifted his staff, runes glowing, and murmured, "Ancient guardian, reveal your truth." The wolf tilted its head, unflinching. Fenris said, "If she enters your shadow, you will bind her forever." The wind shifted, carrying whispers through the branches, as if the forest itself answered. The wolf growled low, eyes burning brighter. Fenris lowered his staff, muttering, "So it begins." His cloak billowed, his resolve steady, though his heart trembled with dread for what was to come. The castle echoed with unrest, as Princess Elara stood at the council chamber's door, hearing whispers beyond. She pressed her ear to the wood, heart pounding. Lord Malrik's voice carried, sharp as steel, "The kingdom trembles because of her." The advisors murmured, in fearful tones, speaking of omens and shadows that had stretched across villages. Princess Elara clenched her fists, whispering, "They blame me." She pushed open the doors, and silence fell. Lord Malrik's eyes darkened as he said, "You walk with the wolf." Princess Elara's chest heaved, and she replied, "I walk with truth, not shadows." The council gasped, torn between loyalty and dread. Elder Kaelen, seated at the end of the long table, closed his eyes as if pained, muttering, "The bond cannot be severed." Princess Elara's voice cracked as she said, "If the wolf follows, it is for reason, not curse." Lord Malrik rose, armor clattering, and growled, "Then the reason is ruin." Later that night, Princess Elara stood in the courtyard, rain dripping from the eaves. Seraphine approached, placing a steadying hand on her arm. Seraphine said, his words cut, "But they cannot chain you." Princess Elara whispered, "The kingdom believes his lies. I fear I am a curse." Seraphine's eyes softened as she murmured, No curse can bind the truth of who you are. The wolf emerged at the garden's edge, silver eyes glowing in the night. Princess Elara stepped forward, trembling. "Why do you follow me?" she whispered into the darkness. The wolf stared, its presence commanding yet mournful. Seraphine drew her dagger, though her voice was calm. If it wished you harm, it would have struck. The air grew colder, heavy with magic. Princess Elara's pendant glimmered faintly, as if responding to the wolf's silent call. She whispered, "Then I must follow him, wherever he leads." Deep beneath the castle, Lord Malrik descended into hidden catacombs, torch in hand. He whispered, "Show me the strength to end her bond." The walls trembled as he placed his palm upon a cracked stone altar. The shadows answered, writhing like serpents around him. A voice hissed, "Power demands sacrifice." Lord Malrik snarled, "I have sacrificed everything already." His torch dimmed, replaced by unnatural light spilling from the altar's runes. He fell to his knees, growling, "Grant me the weapon to strike her." The shadows wrapped tighter, whispering of blood and betrayal. Lord Malrik's scarred face twisted with both pain and hunger. His vow thundered in the hollow chamber, "If she binds the wolf, I will break them both." The stones moaned, and the air grew thick with ancient malice. In the stables, Seraphine prepared horses as dawn broke, her movements sharp with urgency. Princess Elara approached, cloak drawn tight. Seraphine said, "If you go to the forest, you go to peril." Princess Elara replied, "The wolf waits for me, and the truth waits with him." Seraphine tightened the reins, muttering, "Then I will ride with you." The sound of hooves startled them as General Dorian entered, eyes narrowed. He said, "Lord Malrik has forbidden you to leave." Princess Elara stood tall, her voice steady. "Then let him try to stop me." General Dorian's hand lingered on his sword, but Seraphine stepped between them, dagger raised. She whispered, "Do not test me, General." The stable filled with silence until Dorian stepped back, muttering, "So be it." The tension hung heavy, the horses restless with fear. At the edge of the forest, the mist curled like fingers around the trees. Princess Elara dismounted, heart racing. The wolf stood waiting, its silver gaze unwavering. Seraphine whispered, "We should not enter." Princess Elara touched her pendant, murmuring, "I cannot turn back now." The wolf padded forward, its steps silent but heavy with meaning. Princess Elara followed, cloak brushing wet leaves. Seraphine hesitated before stepping into the mist behind her. The forest air grew colder, filled with whispers that were not wind. Branches swayed, though no breeze touched them. Princess Elara said softly, "This is where the truth lies." The wolf turned its head back briefly, as though to measure her resolve, before leading deeper into the darkened path. The forest swallowed Princess Elara and Seraphine in its mist, branches twisting like skeletal fingers. The spectral wolf stopped near a hollow tree, its silver eyes glowing. Princess Elara whispered, "Why do you bring me here?" The wolf lowered its head, pressing paw against the roots. A shimmer broke across the bark, revealing runes. Seraphine stepped forward, whispering, "This is no ordinary forest. These are wards older than kings." Princess Elara touched the glowing symbols, her pendant pulsing with the same light. The runes flared, and a voice echoed through the mist, "Blood of the first queen binds the beast." Princess Elara staggered, gasping. The wolf was hers. Seraphine's eyes widened in shock, her dagger trembling. Thorist groaned as if alive, and the truth revealed itself. The wolf had once been bound to a queen who betrayed her kingdom. Princess Elara whispered, "And I carry her blood." Elder Kaelen sat alone in his chamber, head bowed over a cracked mirror framed with iron. His reflection shimmered, then shifted into the face of the wolf. He whispered, "Forgive me, old friend." The wolf's eyes in the mirror glowed with sadness. Elder Kaelen muttered, "I kept the truth from her, as I once kept it from her mother." His hand trembled on the mirror's edge. The voices of spirits murmured, "The bloodline cannot escape its burden." Elder Kaelen's face twisted with grief. He said, If she learns the truth too soon, she will break as her mother broke. The mirror dimmed, leaving only his weary reflection. He closed his eyes, whispering, but fate does not ask permission. A single candle sputtered out, plunging the chamber into shadow. Lord Malrik stood before his generals in the war hall, maps spread across the table. His voice thundered, "The girl walks with the beast. She is her mother reborn." The generals exchanged uneasy glances. General Dorian asked carefully, "What proof have we, my lord?" Lord Malrik's eyes blazed as he slammed his fist on the table. The wolf's eyes burn with the curse of betrayal. "Do you not see? She carries the queen's blood." The hall fell silent, the fire crackling loud in the silence. Lord Malrik whispered bitterly, "I loved her mother once, and she chose the beast." His generals looked down, torn between loyalty and doubt. He raised his sword high, declaring, "We end this bond, or it ends us." The echoes rang like steel, sealing the oath. Princess Elara knelt before the spectral wolf in the forest clearing, her pendant glowing brighter. She whispered, "You served her. You were betrayed." The wolf's eyes shimmered with grief, and for a moment the shape of a man flickered in the mist. Seraphine gasped, "He is no mere beast." The figure's voice was deep, filled with sorrow. "I was once Lord Adrian, bound to protect Queen Selene. Her betrayal cursed me into this form." Princess Elara's breath caught as she realized the truth. The wolf was once a man sworn to her ancestor. He whispered, "Your blood carries her burden. You must choose differently." Princess Elara trembled, replying, "Then I will not betray you." The forest stirred with approval, leaves whispering like voices. Seraphine gripped Elara's shoulder firmly, her voice resolute, "Then your fate has truly begun." High in the bell tower, Fenris watched the storm gathering again, lightning flashing across the horizon. His staff hummed with ancient power. He whispered, "The truth is revealed, and the world shifts." His eyes narrowed as shadows moved in the courtyard below. Soldiers marched under Lord Malrik's orders, their armor clattering like thunder. Fenris muttered, "He seeks to destroy her before she accepts her bond." He tightened his grip on the staff, runes glowing brightly. He whispered to the storm, "If fate demands sacrifice, I will give it." Lightning struck the tower's spire, casting his figure in blinding light. His vow echoed across the wind, binding him to the path of guardianship until the end. The storm gathered as Princess Elara stood on the castle steps, Seraphine at her side, facing soldiers arrayed in the courtyard. Lord Malrik strode forward, his voice thunderous, "You dare defy me, girl?" Princess Elara raised her chin and said, "I dare to face truth you fear." The soldiers shifted uneasily, eyes darting to the spectral wolf that emerged from the mist. Seraphine drew her blade, hissing, "We stand together." Lord Malrik unsheathed his sword, steel gleaming in lightning. He roared, "You are your mother's curse, and I will end it." Princess Elara pressed her pendant to her chest, its glow defiant. The air thickened with tension, and the storm cracked above them. Soldiers raised shields, and the courtyard trembled with the clash about to begin. The wolf growled low, its eyes fixed on Lord Malrik, as if recognizing a deeper betrayal. The clash erupted, steel ringing against steel. Seraphine fought with unyielding ferocity, blades flashing in the stormlight. Princess Elara moved through the chaos, pendant glowing brighter with each step. Lord Malrik struck down soldiers who hesitated, his rage unmatched. He roared, "The wolf will fall." The spectral wolf leapt into the fray, scattering soldiers with supernatural force. Seraphine shouted, "Stay close." Princess Elara pressed forward, whispering, "The bond protects me." Lightning lit the courtyard, revealing Elder Kaelen at the edge, his staff blazing with runes. He cried, "This must end before the curse consumes all." The storm howled, wind whipping cloaks and banners as the battle grew fiercer. Princess Elara's voice cut through the chaos, "This is not ruin, this is destiny." The spectral wolf lunged at Lord Malrik, their clash shaking the stones beneath them. Lord Malrik snarled, You were once Adrian, yet you kneel to her bloodline." The wolf growled, eyes burning with sorrow and fury. Princess Elara cried, "You twist the past with lies." Lord Malrik struck, his blade grazing the wolf's flank, sparks flying. Seraphine battled nearby, holding back soldiers pressing in. Elder Kaelen's staff blazed, but he staggered, whispering, "The curse feeds on their hatred." Princess Elara stepped between them, pendant blazing like fire. She cried, "If this bond is cursed, then let me bear it." Lord Malrik's face twisted in rage as he shouted, "Then you will fall as she did." Lightning crashed, illuminating their defiance against his wrath. Courtyard shook as Elder Kaelen raised his staff high, runes blazing like fire. He shouted, "End this with choice, not steel." Lord Malrik charged, sword aimed for Princess Elara's heart. The wolf leapt, intercepting the strike, blood glowing in silver sparks. Princess Elara screamed, "No!" She fell to her knees beside the wounded wolf. Lord Malrik snarled, "He bleeds for you, as he bled for her." Seraphine rushed to her side, blade dripping with blood. Elder Kaelen collapsed to his knees, voice hoarse. She must decide. The wolf's silver eyes met Elara's, shimmering with both pain and devotion. She whispered, "I will not betray you." The pendant pulsed, sending a shockwave of light across the courtyard. Soldiers stumbled back as shadows dissolved into the storm. The shockwave cleared the courtyard, leaving silence broken only by thunder. Lord Malrik staggered, his armor cracked, his eyes wild. He roared, "You cannot defy fate." Princess Elara rose slowly, pendant glowing with steady light. She said firmly, "Fate is choice, and I choose the bond." The wolf stood at her side, blood still gleaming, but its strength unbroken. Seraphine raised her sword, declaring, "Then none will break us." Elder Kaelen whispered, "So the curse becomes covenant." Lord Malrik fell to his knees, screaming into the storm, "Then ruin claims us all." Lightning struck behind him, framing his broken figure in shadow. Princess Elara placed her hand on the wolf's head, her voice soft yet unyielding. "No ruin ends tonight." The storm stilled for a single heartbeat, holding the moment in eternal wait. The storm faded, leaving the courtyard drenched in silence and rain. Princess Elara knelt beside the spectral wolf, her hand pressed gently to its silver-flecked wound. She whispered, "You bleed for me." The wolf's eyes glowed softly, its breath steady though labored. Seraphine stood watch, her blade lowered, scanning the courtyard where soldiers had dropped their weapons. Elder Kaelen limped forward, leaning on his staff, his voice hoarse. "The bond has been sealed, and its power now rests in you." Princess Elara looked up, her face pale with grief and determination. She said, "If this bond holds, then I must bear its weight for the kingdom." The wolf's gaze shimmered, and a faint whisper stirred in her mind, a vow of loyalty, unbroken. Lord Malrik knelt in the shadows, his armor cracked, his eyes burning with hatred even in defeat. In the great hall, silence weighed heavier than stone. The council sat in fear, their eyes fixed on Princess Elara as she entered with Seraphine and Elder Kaelen at her side. The spectral wolf followed, its form shimmering faintly in torchlight. A counselor whispered, "She brings the beast into the throne room." Princess Elara stood tall, her voice steady. "This beast carries more honor than those who betrayed him." The council stirred uneasily. Elder Kaelen struck his staff on the floor, declaring, "The curse is broken. The bond is covenant." Seraphine's hand rested on her hilt, her glare silencing dissent. Princess Elara's gaze swept the chamber. "If you cannot trust me, then you cannot serve this kingdom," she said. Whispers of fear gave way to silence, the hall heavy with unspoken submission. Lord Malrik was dragged in chains before the council, his face twisted with fury. He spat, "You are no queen, Elara. You are a shadow of betrayal." Princess Elara stepped closer, her eyes blazing with resolve. She replied, "I am no shadow. I am the light that ends yours. He strained against his bonds, roaring, You will destroy us as your mother did. Elder Kaelen lifted his hand, silencing the chamber. Her mother's sins are not her own, he said. Seraphine's blade gleamed as she stood at Elara's side, silent but unyielding. The spectral wolf growled, its silver gaze fixed on Malrik. Princess Elara's voice softened, though firm. I will not kill you, Malrik. Your punishment is to live, watching the kingdom heal, without your chains. Malrik's scream echoed through the chamber as guards pulled him away. Later, in the gardens washed clean by rain, Princess Elara walked beside the spectral wolf. The roses glistened with droplets like tears. She whispered, I am bound to you, and through you, to her. The wolf's gaze met hers, filled with sorrow and strength. Seraphine followed a step behind, her dagger sheathed, but her eyes vigilant. Elder Kaelen sat on a stone bench, his staff across his knees, murmuring, The bond carries both salvation and burden. Princess Elara touched the wolf's head, whispering, Then let it be salvation. The wolf lowered its head, pressing gently against her palm. Seraphine smiled faintly, her voice soft. Perhaps fate chose wisely after all. The garden wind carried the scent of roses, mingled with the quiet weight of destiny now embraced. That night, the castle lay quiet under the stars. Princess Elara stood at the balcony, her pendant glowing faintly against her chest. The spectral wolf stood beside her, its silver eyes reflecting the heavens. She whispered, The kingdom breathes again, though its scars remain. Seraphine entered quietly, saying, You are no longer alone, Elara. Elder Kaelen joined them slowly, leaning on his staff, whispering, The bond has shifted the course of fate. Princess Elara looked to the stars, her voice steady. If fate is written, then let it be rewritten by choice. The wolf raised its head, releasing a low howl that echoed through the night sky. The sound carried across the kingdom, both haunting and hopeful. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if blessing the vow unspoken. The kingdom was quiet as dawn spilled across its battered walls. Princess Elara walked through the courtyard where the echoes of battle lingered. The spectral wolf padded silently at her side, its gaze fixed forward. Seraphine followed close behind, her blade sheathed, but her steps sharp with vigilance. Elder Kaelen leaned on his staff, weary yet resolute, his eyes tracing the sky. The people gathered slowly, their faces lined with fear and hope. A child whispered, She walks with the wolf. Princess Elara lifted her chin, her pendant glowing faintly. She said, We are bound not by curse but by choice. The crowd stilled, their silence breaking into a wave of bowed heads. For the first time the kingdom breathed without chains, though scars etched its soul. In the council chamber, Princess Elara stood before the table where the elders once doubted her. She placed her pendant on the stone surface, its glow filling the hall. She said, This kingdom will no longer be ruled by fear. Seraphine stood behind her, eyes sharp as steel. Elder Kaelen raised his staff, murmuring, The curse is undone, and the bond remade. The council bowed slowly, their resistance broken. Princess Elara's voice rang clear, The wolf stands with us. If you cannot, then you stand against the kingdom. The spectral wolf growled low, its eyes piercing the silence. The councillors lowered their heads, the sound of surrender heavy as rain. For the first time, Elara's voice carried not as a child, but as a ruler. At dusk, Seraphine and Princess Elara walked along the garden paths, roses blooming despite the storm scars. Seraphine said, You have changed them, Elara. Even those who feared you now bend to your strength. Princess Elara smiled faintly, her fingers brushing the petals. Strength is nothing if it serves only power, she whispered. The spectral wolf followed silently, its eyes reflecting the fading sun. Elder Kaelen watched from a bench, his expression tired yet peaceful. He murmured, Perhaps balance has returned. Seraphine touched Elara's shoulder, her voice steady. And if it falters, I will hold it with you. Elara looked to her friend, whispering, Then the bond is more than wolf and blood, it is trust. The garden wind stirred, carrying the scent of new beginnings. That night, in the tower chamber, Princess Elara stood before the stars. She held the pendant to her chest, whispering, "The kingdom rests, but danger will rise again." The spectral wolf stood tall beside her, its form half shadow, half light. Seraphine entered quietly, her eyes sharp yet softened by loyalty. Elder Kaelen climbed the final step, his breath heavy, murmuring, "Every bond bears weight, but yours may outlast time itself." Elara looked at them both, her voice steady. "Then I will carry it." The wolf lifted its head to the stars, releasing a low howl that filled the tower. The sound seemed to echo beyond walls, carried by wind across valleys, rivers, and mountains. The howl became the kingdom's vow, carved in eternal night. The final dawn broke, casting pale gold across the horizon. Princess Elara stood on the balcony, her gaze distant, her heart heavy with promise. The spectral wolf at her side glowed faintly in the morning light. She whispered, "The bond is eternal, but so is the threat." Seraphine appeared behind her, saying, "Then we remain watchful." Elder Kaelen joined them, voice quiet, "The tale does not end, it only changes." Elara placed her hand on the wolf's head, whispering, "Then let this be the beginning." The wolf's eyes shone brighter, its silent vow echoing in the air. The wind stirred the banners above, and the camera of fate seemed to pull away, leaving their figures against the rising sun. The story ended not with silence, but with a promise lingering forever.